in the governor's race, and I think it's going to trickle down to all the offices. The tax issue is going to become really more so than, I know this is going to pain some Democrats, than George Bush's leadership. This is what it's going to be about, is on that tax issue. We got to wrap up in just a minute, but if I can jump in, Chris, with a quick question for you. Looking back at some old clips in 2002, you weren't a huge supporter of Third Frontier. Now, given that both the governor and the Republican side are for it, is your view of the Third Frontier program?
Little truth to the question. Your former boss didn't have many kind things to say about me, because when Third Frontier was first discussed, I suggested that maybe every Ohioan should benefit from it. Governor Taft responded. I was a minority leader at the time. Governor Taft responded by allowing all communities to benefit from the Third Frontier. It passed by a wide margin on the second try, because every Ohioan could identify with the chance to at least be successful with it, and I continue to support the Third Frontier, and I know Representative DeWine has supported it in the past. I assume he and I are going to work to help pass it.
You guys are both, I think, on record supporting what we've just pushed through. All right, I think we're at the 1 o'clock break here for some more comments from Jan Roller.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a Friday Forum featuring Kevin DeWine, Chairman of the Ohio Republican Party, and Chris Redfern, Chairman of the Ohio Democratic Party, moderated by Mark Naymik, politics reporter and columnist with the Cleveland Plain Dealer. We will return to our panel in a minute for our traditional City Club questions, and we encourage you to formulate your questions now and remind you to keep them brief and to the point. Welcome to the City Club Forum. For those listening to today's forum through one of our broadcast partners, we want to remind you that you are all welcome here to attend the City Club forums at 850 Euclid Avenue in downtown Cleveland. Please visit our website to see a full schedule of our upcoming programs. We welcome guests at tables hosted by Baker Hostetler, Community Action Against Addiction, Medical Mutual of Ohio, and Republican Party of Cuyahoga County. Thank you for joining us today. We're pleased to welcome to the forum students who are here as part of our City Club student program. Participation of these students is made possible by a generous grant from the Fox Foundation. With us today are students from Archbishop Hoban High School, James F. Rhodes High School, and Cleveland School of Architecture and Design. Would our student guests please stand and be recognized? Great. Wonderful. Now, we would like to return to our speakers for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphones today are City Club Outreach and Membership Manager Deborah Agosti and Director of Development Jessica Leary. First question, please.
Well, my question to you, gentlemen, is this. In regards to the state of Ohio, green and sustainability. With each respective slate, as far as Republican slate and Democratic slate, where are you guys stand on the issue as far as building Ohio's economy within that area?
Why don't you start,
Kevin?
Yeah,
look, I think you'll find a receptive party in the Republican Party when it comes to green jobs, green technology, green energy. We proud to have led the way on Senate Bill 221. Which creates the most stringent and aggressive, maybe not the most stringent, that's not the right word, most aggressive green energy requirements of any state in the nation. And so you're starting to see the proliferation of windmills and solar panels and the like, not just in terms of producing energy inside the state, but creating the industry that will provide those resources to other states. And so I think you're going to find a lot of our campaigns and a lot of our conversation with folks around the state this year talking about economic development, but talking about green energy, talking about energy independence, and talking about using it as a way to promote job creation in Ohio.
If you'd like to learn more about Ted Strickland, go to tedstrickland.com. You'll learn 2 weeks ago at the State of State address, the governor spoke about the importance of embracing so-called green energy initiatives and pointed out, for instance, anecdotally, that Ohio is one of the top states for producing solar panels. But unfortunately, because changes are needed in the tax code to stir growth within the residential sector for the placement of those solar panels, we don't sell too many to Ohioans. What we like to do is make sure that whether it's state government, local government, or in the private sector, we're doing as much as possible to continue to encourage investment. And one of the ways Governor Strickland has pointed out in his State of the State address is through changes, modest changes in the tax code to create those opportunities.
3 decades ago, I spent a lot of money going to 2 years of graduate school. After I finished that, I had to be supervised for 2 years, pass a national test, and get licensed in the state to practice. 2 years later, I applied for an advanced licensing, and I have worked for 30 years working with groups like felons. When I worked in California, I supervised felons from high security prisons. I worked in a psychiatric inpatient facility for mentally ill people who are psychotic, suicidal, homicidal. I'm a social worker. I'm very, very proud to be a social worker. There are at least 22,000
Ma'am, we need a question, please.
I would like to see if we could get an apology for using the word social worker in a pejorative fashion.
Look, in early 2008, the Democrat candidate for lieutenant governor, in a speech to the Columbus Metropolitan Club, described herself as a social worker. It was at that same time that Chris Redfern and the Ohio Democratic Party railed on Sarah Palin as being inexperienced. They then went and compared Mary Taylor to Sarah Palin, and yet they now defend a lieutenant governor candidate who has no elective experience, no government management experience, no public finance experience at a point in time when we as a state have significant economic and budgetary issues facing us. That's what the issue here is all about. There is. I am sure that the lieutenant governor candidate has done wonderful work in the city of Columbus, and I appreciate the work that you and some of the others in the room do. You do wonderful work, but it doesn't take away from the fact that his lieutenant governor candidate has no government management experience, no public finance experience, and no elective government experience at a point in time when we think it's a critical skill set.
Yvette McGee Brown is a former Franklin County Common Pleas judge. She was the chief legal counsel for 2 state divisions collectively. Between those 2 departments, rather, more than $2 billion was invested by Ohio's taxpayers. She helped to manage and continues to help to manage one of the most outstanding advocacy organizations in the state at Nationwide Children's Hospital, and has been widely applauded on both sides of the aisle in central Ohio, and soon will be across the state. I stand by my comparison of Mary Taylor with Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin was not qualified to be vice president, and the people of this country responded to my assertions. I don't believe Mary Taylor is qualified to be lieutenant governor as well.
We'll have
I'd be happy to speak in detail about that.
To talk about. I think they offered a good response, again, respectively, to the issue of the lieutenant governor, and we'll have plenty more time on the campaign trail for those guys personally to argue their qualifications. Let's go to the next question.
This question is directed to Mr. DeWine. For many years, the Republican Party, of which you're representing today, has had a reputation both in Ohio and nationally as being against a woman's right to have an abortion. And I'm just wondering what it would take here in Ohio, for example, to change that attitude of the Republican Party, instead of opposing a woman's right to have an abortion, to make it possible for a woman to have an abortion. What steps could that take, and do you see that happening anytime in the near future?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Quick answer is no. The platform of our party is very clear. There are a few things that go to the basic foundation and roots of our party. The sanctity of life and including the life of the unborn is a part of that. And I don't see any time in the near or distant future when the Republican Party on a national basis or in Ohio will change its plank or platform on the issue of life.
All right, let's move to the...
Can I follow up?
I don't want to make this a debate on. I'll give you just briefly. Yeah,
Well,
talk about what your party, where your party is on
You would
that.
think for 20 years the Republicans controlled the state Senate, the governor's office, and the state house. They would have passed some kind of prohibition on abortion in the state of Ohio. The fact of the matter is, like appealing to the Tea Party movement, this is an issue that Republicans keep around so that they can motivate their activist base every now and then.
Let's leave it there. Another question.